walking on sand and holding your hand. Feel like a tourist in my own homeland, in my own homeland. Enjoying the bright, the warm sunlight. Oh my God, what a beautiful sight in my own homeland. This place is so nice, wanna do everything twice. Yes, I feel as if I'm in a paradise. No matter the season, you've got every reason. This place is another little heaven. East or west, I couldn't care less. Ooh, this place, it is definitely best. My own homeland. North or south, feel free to wander about.
Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. Today is Tuesday, and as I always say, when it's Tuesday, there's always an election going on somewhere in the United States of America. It could be a PTA election. It could be a municipal election. It even could be a senator election. But there's an election going on somewhere in the USA. You don't believe me? Google it and you'll find out. But today, we are still focusing on Barbados. Yes, the whole week we're going to be focusing on Barbados because next week, Tuesday, Barbados will transit into a republic. And today our special guest is none other than Mr. Carlston Medford, emotional health practitioner, and he will be talking to us. We're going to have a discussion today about coping with COVID-19 and the transition. So stick and stay, don't go nowhere. I will be back with my podcasting team and Carlton as well. So go get your coffee, your tea, whatever beverage you consume this time of the morning, and I will be right back.
And the work them on go on with it, and I love the Friday poetry corner. I think I love it. I endorse it.
And the music now I wanna, can I ever refuse it? Pulsating, vibrating, reggae, reggae, reggae. Very sky, rock, steady, mental. A quadrillion, a coming. You can fill your belly with the coconut jelly, mango, papaya.
Yes. So many food substances just get me hungry. But I'm going to bring in my team. So, top of the morning, everyone. Top of the morning. Welcome to today's podcast. And as you said, we are focusing on Barbados. And we have Carlton is here with me this morning. And also I got some members for my podcasting team. Flavius and Courtney is here as well. So let me ask them, what's happening in your neck of the woods? I'm going to kick it off with Courtney first. What's happening in your neck of the woods, Courtney?
Yes, top of the morning to the crew and to our listeners and viewers. In my neck of the woods, it's just partly cloudy. Looks like it's going to rain. I've not checked the temperature, but, I'm in the sunshine state. And I guess you are enjoying the same kind of weather too, Franco. So
likewise.
Yeah, but the news, one of the things in the news that caught my eye is that one of Malcolm X's daughter has died.
Wow.
In Brooklyn. And there's no foul play, because she was the one who called 911. And so, it's just an heartening news for me because I think that it's just the day before they have celebrated Malcolm X's birthday. So.
All right. Well, we know it go when it comes to death, family mourn, friends and everybody. So our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family as well. So Flavius, what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, sunshine. As far as Jamaica is concerned, they are grappling with crime. Lots and lots of killings every day now. I don't know what they will do next, but that's our main topic. Other topic is that the gentleman that was fired by the Prime Minister some years ago reached some corruption and is still pending a court case. He was seconded from Jamaica College as the master to be the Minister of Education. But now yesterday I think, he had officially resigned from that position.
Yeah.
So that's about it. You know, it's for us to grab crime by the neck, you know, and get rid of it.
Yeah, I saw the letter and I was like,
we have the crime.
I saw the letter and I was like, it took them this long to terminate him, but because of a contract that he had with them, so it was expired.
It's a very mix-up government thing we have. We are seconded. They move you from one place to the next, but you're still hired at the other place, and obviously still getting paid.
True.
Which I don't know how that or one person can get two pay when they want to work in once, you know. Very strange. Don't understand it at all.
Politics for you, my brother. Politics. They call it politics. So I'm just going to introduce our guest this morning because for viewers watching us this morning, you know who Carlston Medford is. Carlston is a emotional health practitioner. He's been many time guest on our show since we started in 2020. And out of all the guests, I think Carlston has been here like maybe 110 times now. So he's going for the big 150 number. So Carlston,
many more to go.
Yeah, Carlston
many
is
more times to go.
Carlston is of course a Barbadian. So big up to Barbados who have made a bold move, and next week they'll be transitioning to a republic. And he's presently living in UK. So without any further ado, the Real Stuff Podcast, welcome Carlston Medford.
Thank you guys. Welcome to all. For those that are listening, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And now let me start with the being Barbados going to a republic. Let me make this clear. One, I am not an authority on this topic. And two, I am not in Barbados. So presently, what I actually had to do was contact my friends and some family members, and I had discussions with them as to, well, first thing I asked them is if they understand what is a republic. Now, if you look up in the dictionary or for the definition of a republic, it basically will state a republic is a nation which is run by the citizens, or the citizen of the nation has the authority or the power to govern, rather than being run by a family or one person. And if you compare the definition of a republic as well as the definition to a democratic governing country, you'll more or less find that they're actually identical. So it's just a matter of semantics to me. And because I had to start to find out what the definition really stands for or what it really represents. And understanding that Barbados became independent 30th of November 1966. But up to present, we still carry the head of state, which is a representation of the queen within, or rather the monarchy within the UK. And we still held that position in Barbados, even though we were declared independent in 1966. So my summarizations from me personally believe that going to a republic is basically a symbolic statement to say we're finally able to accept our own independence. We're no longer that connected. We actually should be able to stand on our feet. And if you understand, if I'm making myself clear.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So it's very symbolic. Is a way to say yes. We are independent. By treaty, we are also independent in spirit. Now, that is my summarization. So to give accurate, or to give my view, I decide, well, let's get some, let me call some people, let me get some feedback. who are in Barbados and ask them these questions as well. And I'll tell you what I found. I'll tell you some of the results, some of the answers I got, the response I got back. And it kind of fall on two sides. There are a group of people, some that are unstable by it. In other words, it doesn't make a difference to them if we're seen as a republic or we're seen as democratic or we have to, because a lot of people don't really understand from my summarization of those I've spoken to. I'm not saying this is across the board, only from a small minority, is that it is just a change in title. There are some that see it as a very bold step ahead when it comes to identity. So that is the kind of a split. There are some that don't really here, they don't really, I don't want to say care, that sounds like a very negative, but they're not really bothered about it. They're not really focused on it, where there are some people that are actually very happy for that stance to move forward, for Rita to take that bold step and say we're no longer, that when we don't always call ourselves independent, we can say we're a public, there's a word I'm looking for, but lack of a better word, to say that we arrived.
That's a good word. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. To say we have actually arrived. We're no longer saying that we're independent and yet holding on to the shirt tails of our past. We're actually independent and we're standing proud on our 2 feet. Now that is from a symbolic way of looking at it. I then ask the question of, okay, now that when we become a republic, what will change? For me to further get idea of the whole things. And what I have found is that there appears to me, and this is my opinion from what I've heard, it appears to me that there'd be very little discussion public-wise as to what being going to a republic actually means, other than just a change of title. Now, as me and some friends were discussing, I assume there has to be some changes, but for the fact that our police force is known as the Royal Barbados Police Force.
Okay.
Royal being part of United Kingdom. That's where we got it from. Not only is that title royal adopted from our past, but it also links to our, if you look at the emblems on our police uniform, on our buttons. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I used to be a past police officer in the Barbados Police Force in Barbados.
No, the first we're hearing that.
I used to be a police. Yes. I started off as a musician in the Royal Barbados Police.
Oh, yes, my bad. Let me take it back. Yes, I remember. Yes.
Then I went over to the regular duties. Then I was a canine. I was a dog handler as well. Right. So even the little crest on your buttons, and very similar to Jamaica. Our uniform is very similar. So you see the hat, and it has a crest on the hat.
Yeah.
The epaulets on your shoulders. All of these have embedded within their design stamps of royalty.
Okay.
So becoming a republic now and shedding that past, well, will all of these things have to be changed? This is a question being asked. Right? And
I would say so. I would say so.
Yeah. So that's the thing. No one is sure as to what changes will be made. Another question was also posed about status. In other words, we have people that have been knighted, that have been called that is, they're known to be damn this person or sir this person. Now, when we become a republic, do those titles have to be handed back in? Or do they continue with them? That is another question that was posed.
Even the uniforms too?
As much as we laugh, these are things that, it may sound trivial, but when you think about it, these are valid questions. If you change your status and you change the title which you want to represent, then come along with it should be your fresh identity. It's like,
one of the big one.
Pardon?
One of the big one, Carlton, would be, will they rename the hospital?
We don't know. I'm saying
Because the
these are
Queen
questions.
Elizabeth Hospital. Yeah.
Exactly. But on one hand, you can understand why you might want to rename it and give it, say, a representation of someone indigenous to the island. But you can also say it's part of our past. That being part of our past doesn't mean that we can't go back and erase everything from our past, can we?
No, we can't. No.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's arguments on both sides. It's arguments, you can argue any topic from both. Perspective is the word I love to use. It's all about perspective. But my point is that these are questions that at present still being asked. So from what I gathered, there's been very little discussion, period, about what becoming a republic actually means. It's still left down to interpretation. We're here having a discussion. Even me speaking to you right now, even listening to what I'm saying, there's still an internal dialogue into my head as in what really it means. We all will put our own perspective, and it will mean something different to us, I guess, as an individual, but as a collective body of people, as a nation, I am not sure that yet has been established what it really means. And if it has, getting that information wrong or having discussions so everybody understand, I don't think have been in play, have actually happened yet. But as we always say, Rome wasn't making it there.
That's true. You know, one of the things, Carlton, we had a guest. She's from Barbados under our youth program, and one of the things that she mentioned that she's in favor of the new transition, but she wasn't too pleased of how the transition was happening because she was thinking the same thing that we are now discussing. If all of these changes is going to make, why she was saying it should have been in place that as soon as we change the 30th, everything should transform. You know, like the renaming of the hospital and, you know, certain things that is on the book, you know, all of these things, but it's going to take time. And that was something that she was concerned about. I've sent her the link this morning for her to be a part of the discussion, but unfortunately she haven't answered yet. I don't see she come in the room yet. I hope she comes in before we finish. And this is something that I know many people in Barbados is thinking about. Are we going to have rapid changes, or are we going to have what you call it, a turtle change? You understand me? It just
I understand, and this is my view. This is something I learned within the last year or two. When we're waiting for anything to happen and we wait for everything, we have a perception of how things should change and how it should flow. But rightfully so, I agree with that. I agree with the point of view that when it switched over, yes, everything should be in place. But this is what I've actually learned from my practical life. Nothing is never perfect the first time around. When we wait for perfections, nothing happens. Sometimes the first thing you can do is just get started.
Yep.
And as you work, it will get better.
So basically, it's like a married person, a female. When she get married, the last thing that she changes her name. Because sometimes to go back and change your married name, it's going to take a lot of money. Yeah. So she always make sure she do a lot of changes. And, you know, as some people say, I have to keep the name because most of my documents is in the married name. And if I change it now, I might lose out. And, you know, and the amount of money they're going to have to spend, which is the same thing. The amount of money that they're going to have to spend to make changes in some of these, what you call it? What government, you know, federal government, what kind of government is going to be now?
Parliamentary government,
Yeah, it's going to cost money.
Yeah. So
the branding gonna cost a lot of money to rebrand everything.
I think so things will happen. It's just not all one time. You ever try to start a bit, do anything, right? You all look at it, or it's not perfect, it's not ready, and you plan to do it in 2 weeks, and then you put it off because it's not ready, and then you put it off because you're not ready, and then something comes up and you got to put it on the back bench, and eventually you realize it 2-3 months pass, sometimes even a year pass, because we are waiting for everything to be perfect.
So
But
my
let me
question
just say
is
one
this. My
thing here. Let me
question
just
is
say one
this.
thing here.
Yeah.
I was listening to one of these presentations on the whole transition, and one of the important points I heard was that Barbados will be Barbados and not the Republic of Barbados.
Yes.
It will be Barbados. Most countries, when they switch over, they become the Republic of. But Barbados has stated that they will be Barbados. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing added.
Correct.
So they were Barbados.
Me personally, agree with that.
Yeah.
Me personally, agree with that. Now, I'm not going to say it's wrong because you said, as you said, some countries have become the Republic of, right?
Yes.
As being a republic, it's stated. But if you are who you are, even if you change your, for instance, when you change your address, you might change your postcode, right? Or you may change what country you live in. You will still be who you are.
Of course. Of course.
You see, and for me personally to say, well, I'm going to visit the Republic of Barbados, that is a too long a mouthful for me to say.
And Barbados is a very strong brand already.
Exactly.
So you're gonna give away all that goodwill. You're gonna give away all that goodwill.
It doesn't need to change it.
Not to mention the money to the rebranding of the Republic of, you know.
Exactly. So
that's a good move.
I think it is a situation where they are able to pick and choose how they want to be represented.
Yes.
All right, Carlton.
Say what you have to do. We actually have leverage and creativity in how we want to be represented, how we want to be seen.
Carlston, so my question is, what would you say to a youth right now who is affected by COVID-19 and then the type of transition that they're looking for dramatic changes, and they're not going to see it now? What would you say to that person? I would say
the only thing that will change is a label. Is a label. I'm changing from Barbados as is and being known as a republic. The only thing that definitely will change is that label given to or that status. That's it. It doesn't mean the economy changes. It might be affected, but I am not an economist, so I do not want to go into that field, that discussion. You will have to get an economist to talk about how it affects the markets, how it affects trading, and all of those things will be subjected to personal reactions. A business might decide whoever want to take it personal or who may think it has no difference will affect how business can continue to conduct itself. So that is really a very good discussion, but I would suggest having someone that understands economics to talk on that area. As it pertains to social behavior, same country, same rules. As I was told by someone recently, is whether we change the name, whether we become a republic or what case might be, I still have to get it tomorrow and go to work. I still got to pay my bills. Right? Changing the republic doesn't mean I get an increase in salary. It doesn't mean that I get more holiday pay. It simply means that we are known to be a republic rather than to be.
Well, will certain
Commonwealth.
Wouldn't certain laws be changed as well, like things that that was under the British rule in terms of the prison system? Wouldn't they? Would they have to change some of those?
Up for discussion. As we were saying earlier, there is so much questions being posed that have not been publicly addressed. I can't say that have not been addressed, but publicly addressed in a way that everybody understands what will change. So like I said, based on what I found out, it only appears to me that the only thing that generally will change is going from democratic to be known as a republic. And if you look at or research those two definitions, you will find that with a slight difference in wording here or there, they're basically the same. But very good question about the law system, because everything in Barbados, listen, there is not a name in Barbados, any road name that you cannot come in England and find. I mean,
Oh, yes.
when I came out here and I first walked through here and I saw a street named Nelson Street, I was like, excuse me? No, I know what Nelson Street is in Barbados. So,
Yes, Carlston.
yes.
Yeah. So, what do you think the emotional state of the people will be, during and after the transition?
I honestly
Because,
believe
like,
it will make no difference. I honestly talk to so many people, I realize it will make no difference. I'm choosing my words very carefully here, right?
No. So because like when you have independence, there's a kind of euphoria,
Yes.
with the people. I'm just saying, what are you getting from the ground? If they're, if most people are happy about it, or they're feeling sad, or having this ambivalent feeling, what is going on the ground right here?
The feeling that I'm getting from those few people I spoke to is that it really does not faze them. They're not elated. They're not feeling down about it. It is just basically one day you have one label and they have a different label. Now, like I said, it's only a small fraction, really small fraction of the island that I actually spoke to personally to get feedback, what they think. But me knowing my people, you put it this way, me knowing my people, there will always be discussions. We love a good argument. We love discussions. We love to have debates about everything, which can be a very good thing. But I don't see right now with our things that are happening in the economy, the things that are happening with work, the things that are happening with the COVID jab and the different status. Right now, this might be something that people can, kind of relax and celebrate about, but nothing to the extent that people are going to be that worried or stressed themselves really about yet. Because as the feedback I've been getting is that it does not really, becoming a republic doesn't affect lifestyle, cost of living, these things as yet. And I guess because people, like, let's say we still asking, we even discussing questions, bringing up good topics and questions right now that we don't even have answers for. And that's because answers have not yet been really made available.
No, that's a quick thing. Can this be attributed to because Barbadians are more laid back people who are, not fussy about much things? Because, that's the impression I get from most Barbadians that I speak with,
Yeah, we have, listen, very laid
You're
back,
such
relaxed.
a cool set of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It can be a good thing and it can also be a bad thing. It just depends on your perspective. I believe at the moment, my assumption is at the moment, they are more worried about the spread of COVID within the island. They're more worried about getting back to a level of normality. This has been 2 years without popover. This has been 2 years without a lot of partying and stuff, which is basically part of our culture. It's part of our culture. So if you look at it within the balance of what's happening around you, even in where we are in different locations, but even in our own environments, there's still different levels of tension or stress level as it relates to operating or living within an environment with COVID. So depending on how you want to look at it, going to a republic may not be as that stressful or that topic to be focused on right now, rather than how soon am I able to go out and meet my family and not being caught outside the curfew and all these other things you got to worry about. How many people that we have sick today? How many people have contracted it? How many people have actually succumbed and died from it? These are probably more pressing issues right now than just becoming a republic, on the international scene. So it depends on what people are focused on, because what you think is more important will take more of your focus. You see what I mean? And if becoming a republic isn't that much of a big focus, then it can't get that much attention from you.
But let's go outside of Barbados for a little while.
Yeah.
What do you think the international community, the reaction of the international community?
I think, it has to be, and this anything I'm saying, let me make this clear. Anything you hear me saying, it has a slight level of biasness to it, because it's my point of view. Not all factual, that's my imposing my view of personal feel and my personal view as well, right? Recently, we had within the UK what you call the COP meeting, COP, I think it was, meeting with other heads of state, other countries, talking about environmental issues, talking about reducing pollution, what the world can do together to bring down, to reduce what we're doing to the earth. Now, and I'm sure you all would have seen a clip or so, our Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Miss Mia Mottley, represented Barbados to the highest standard with the way that she delivered her speech and the way that she delivered her message. Now, that alone, being on that international scene alone, placed a lot of focus on Barbados itself. Small little island, as I was explaining earlier, 21 miles top to bottom, 40 miles across. You can put it in a farm in Jamaica. It will fit in the back pocket of Jamaica. But it is a beautiful piece of rock. And that representation has placed Barbados and our Prime Minister up front. So there are a lot of people that can be paying attention to see how we develop and what we do.
Lately, your prime minister is the big thing around the world now.
Like I said,
because she been quoting songs from Bob Marley, quotes out of Bob Marley song, and I mean it shook up the international world.
Exactly. So you see, even in what she said, it wasn't about just only, like she said, her message, her message is about us together, not only Barbados by itself. But because by ourselves, one little island can do very little. But as a community, as togetherness with the rest of the world, anything is achievable. Everything is possible. That's the message. When you hear her speak, that strength in her words, got everybody attention.
True.
But do you think that based on that speech and a few more that I've heard before, and her being able to make this transition now has pushed her stock up and the stock of Barbados at the same time? Has been very possible. Positive.
Very, very possible. Like I said, I can't give an accurate. Yeah, I agree. Very possible, but because I have no figures and I can't give you accurate information, I'm not going to assume what it has done. I'm not going to tell you, well, I can assume what it has done, but I can't give you accurate. But I do believe, that within the last few weeks of that presentation, within that speech being made public, I do believe that there has been a lot of interest. I've heard a lot of different conversations about it, and I believe that the world itself is definitely have its eye and focus on what we do and what we say.
Times Magazine Person of the Year will be out soon, and I guarantee she's going to be listed among one of the most influential person from the Caribbean.
That would be a very fantastic thing to see.
Yeah, I've been checking out some stuff, and so far she's the most vocal person from the Caribbean when it comes to poverty and climate change, all of the changes that we as people need, especially funding from the international community, to help the Caribbean transit to whatever we can do. She's been vocal about it.
No, but she's been involved in the first ever African Caribbean Summit, and now Barbados transition into a republic. It's all first and positive things.
Exactly. And even, as you said, mentioned about being first, even the first female prime minister we've had.
Yeah.
She's the first female prime minister. And
yes.
Yes, and she won every seat.
You see, so
Sheer brilliance.
yeah, so we have a lot to every day I tell people about gratitude, about seeing what you have and understand the power within that. Even as we were talking about, even in COVID times, and these are phrases that we use, COVID times, right? It's still times, not necessarily belonging to COVID only because why? Life still continues. We still live our life. We still have to get up and do work. We still have Thanksgiving in America coming. We still have Christmas. We have everything. We label it as COVID times. And not to just get away, I don't want to distract too much on the Barbados change into the Republic, but also part of this discussion was always talking about, surviving these days in COVID. And recently within the EU, I don't remember exactly which country it is now. I had it in the tip of my head anyhow. And some countries are imposing new lockdowns again. The new method, they're going back into lockdown again. Now, when we were speaking earlier, we were talking about watching the football game in England, and everybody's still together and cheering and having a good time, and very few people wearing masks. Now, I was listening to the radio yesterday, and they were explaining that when England came out of lockdown, and people said, well, we come out of lockdown early. We came out of lockdown. It was supposed to be in June. I think it happened in July. And they start to relax some of the restrictions. But that was also, a good point was made, it was made in summer. So people were outside even more. So more air, more distance compared to being in rooms a lot or being clustered together. Now, we still had a lot of numbers of people picking up COVID, very high numbers. But what had reduced was the amount of hospital admittance. Now, it was argued that because of the vaccination protocols, that kept a lot of people out of the hospital. So even if numbers were going up, hospital admittance was reducing. And eventually you find that there's still a lot of spread, but the fatalities have actually been reduced a lot. I was trying to look see if I had fresh figures. I didn't have any fresh figures yet for say today itself. But I know personally, about 4 weeks ago, my wife contracted COVID. She was working from home since March last year. So she only went up for recently trying to get back into the environment, get back into work. She took 2 days away from home to go back to the office, 2 separate days. And besides that, the only place we normally would go is say supermarket shopping. So when she told me she had COVID, it was a bit of a shock. Luckily, the only thing that she suffered from her experience was lack of smell and lack of taste. Not fully, but partial lack of smell, partial lack of taste. That's it. No cough, no fever, no problem. She isolated from the rest of the family, which was a bit tricky, but we managed it because we have two little ones together. I went to get tested. I didn't have it. Kids got tested. They didn't contract it. Now, both of us had our jabs. So it can be argued that having the jab protected her, but our kids didn't have the jab. But they didn't caught it. One of the arguments or one of the things I noticed or observed is when we have a lot of children in our street, and we know that some of them have contracted from school, but kids have a very resilient way of dealing, or their immune system is quite young, not necessarily meaning weak. It just means it's young. It seems to be more what we call plasticity. So they seem to recover much better. So at present, because of, we can say it could be a mixture of what England did earlier than other countries that allow us to either develop a better immunity or having a better immunization program could have given us the advantage that when or if you contract COVID, you have a better chance of recovering. And that is still within debate because there's no particular information or proof that could come and say X, Y, or Z. But it appeared that because England started their protocols, their relaxing of protocols early, it gave us a lot more time to readjust. And we started, and it appeared that the time in which it started, which is summer, rather than now, which is going into autumn, going into winter, that temperature difference also has an implication, also can affect how the public or how the environment reacts as well. So hopefully we don't have to go into another lockdown, but the comparison in what we did different compared to other countries in the EU and the results that we are getting in the UK compared to those countries in the EU as well. So you will see games, you'll see events. I've been on the underground train station within the last 2 weeks. And I also noticed that there's a lot of people not using masks. There's a lot more relax and freeness in the environment as you move around. Now, is it a good thing or a bad thing? As a question someone may ask, and I can't say if it is or not. What I can say is that when you're in an environment that you don't feel so tentative, your stress levels actually can reduce. And by reducing your stress levels, you actually allow your immune system to work even better. But stress suppresses your immunity. So if you're in an environment where we're always stressed all the time about being in contact, that pushes so much illnesses here up further. And that's what over the last nearly 2 years, we've been seeing stress levels of people going up. We've been seeing mental health increasing. We've been seeing even the suicide rate increasing within young people. We talked about this, I think it was a few months ago. And it's all because of not our perception, I don't want to say that word. It's all because of what's happening within our environment. And that will basically determine over the last 2 years can be a blueprint to see or to show what the next 2 years can be or would be like. Because I don't believe by now, I think everybody should realize that COVID is not going to go away by the snap of the finger. We're not going to get it 1 week and here all of a sudden, oh, we don't have it anymore. So figuring out how do we operate and live within a regular daily society, knowing everyone, somebody will contract it.
Yeah,
we managed to do it with regular flu. We managed to do it with the common cold. And I don't see this as anything different. Adjusting like everything else with time, we adjust.
True.
Is everyone with me? Right. I don't want to be just talking.
You're absolutely right, my brother.
No, man. No, yeah. We are here. We are with you, yes?
You know, one of the things I want to ask you, Carlston, is in UK, you have a lot of you have a Bajan community there, right? A Barbadian community. I don't know if you can mingle in it because of the COVID, but what is the sound coming out of it? Knowing that people are going through what we're going through, the COVID-19, and we know it's not going away. We're going to live with it, but it's all we're going to live with it. Are we going to be boosting up every 6 months or every year, things like that? We don't know yet. I don't know how the booster is being projected or distributed now in UK. But what is the feedback you're hearing over there with that community, Barbadian community?
We at present, I know there are a lot of people that have been vaccinated. I come across. I have no statistics. And it's very hard unless you have everyone and we actually put out surveys and stuff. But I know it's happening more and more. People are more open to the idea, and I think because with time now, people that personally that have the virus that have been vaccinated, they're okay. They're not very little side effects. People are coming around to the idea now that being vaccinated is not as scary as it was in the early days. Because remember, when we first talked about it, it was like being the first people to board a plane. That not just board a plane, but board a maiden plane. You don't know if it's going to work or not, if it's going to stand in the air or not. So it's like you being the first people on a new plane, that's risky. It's not been tested yet, right? And that's the same thing. But over a period of time now, we've come across so many people that have been vaccinated and seem to be okay. We've come across a lot of people that have been vaccinated and have caught coronavirus, being vaccinated, but also have mild symptoms. And I think there's arguments to show people, depending on how you want to see it, that it probably gives you a better chance at surviving.
True.
And it seems to be a lot more people are more open to the idea of being vaccinated. And I guess once you get past that stage and get more vaccinations, having a booster, at the moment here in the UK, I know it's something that started. It definitely have started. And I think people are more open to the idea of having that booster, especially if it becomes a requirement when it comes to traveling. Yeah, but like I said, most of you hear me say, but what people will do is my assumption.
Yeah, Carlston, just want to take you back a little bit, for you to expand on reducing our stress levels, to really enhance the immune system, and, so what I want you to expand on is to talk about how this hormonal change, what it really does. Okay.
Now, if anyone, you could do a bit of research, ask a doctor, or if you go into research and ask, say, a surgeon, if you're doing a heart or anything transplant, right? If they actually use hormone treatments, right? In allowing your body to readjust to this new transplant. And you'll find that they use stress hormones within your body, because the reason is, I say, stress hormone itself suppresses your immunity. You see, when you're stressed and you're say in survival mode, either fight, flight, or freeze, your body is generating or has to direct the energy into your extremities, whether you're running, whether you're fighting with your fist, because the rest of your body is dependent on the survival of you, right? Which means your body cannot be using energy to regulate itself, protect itself, your immunity. Or it is like watching, I don't know if anybody like to watch Star Trek, but if something happened to the shields, they say divert all energy to the shields for protection, right?
Yeah.
But that's simply how our body will operate. It directs the energy, the blood flow, all your energy to your body extremities so that the whole entire entity, your body itself, can survive. It makes no difference if you got a virus and you can't survive to fight the virus. Put it this way, I heard this already. If you have a virus and you're sick and you're running from a tiger, if you don't have the energy to run from the tiger, then the virus becomes the tiger's problem, not yours. You understand? So your body has to be able to fight itself. It doesn't have time to deal with immunity. It doesn't have time to regulate and deal with heartbeat and regulate with high blood pressure and stuff. All it has to do is get as much energy to your moving body parts so it can get away from danger. So a stress hormone does that to your body. It shuts your immunity until you are ready to deal with it. Now, if you're always stressed about something, it means that your immunity is suppressed longer than it should. Because no entity, no body, no living organism is designed to be always in stress mode. Stress mode is a way of survival. If you're always living in survival, you're always in stress, what you're actually doing is suppressing your immunity. You're actually allowing your body to deteriorate faster than it needs to, because it is not using the energy and it's not using that blood supply that it should be using properly to keep your body functioning. So that's what stress does. It's a hormone to get you moving, along with what we call cortisol. You hear people talking about mental health and talk about cortisol and adrenal glands, which produce adrenaline. And then all of these things is to get your body into movement. The problem is that it is basically designed for short bursts of energy. So when you get up in the morning, that's cortisol and adrenaline getting you up. You hear the alarm clock, you bung up. You feel that rush. That is those chemicals kicking in. What they're not designed for is kicking in over a very long period of time. So everything that stresses you or everything that you think about that you allow yourself to stress, and when I say allow yourself, doesn't mean that you say, okay, stress about it. It means that what you practice yourself to stress over, the more things that you allow in your life that cause you stress, the longer you'll find your body in that same state of stress, and which means it affects your physical health. So that's why mental health and physical health is so like your mind, your body is so connected that even if you want to control your mind, using your mind to control your mind is very difficult. In other words, if you feel a bit down and people say, oh, tell yourself you shouldn't feel so down, that rarely does work. But what you can do is use your body by exercising, by getting up and walking, by even just doing jumping jacks. And your body can actually change the chemical balance in your brain and can take you out of that state of depression. So I hope I was clear in explaining how stress affects your body and answer your question.
Yeah. Because remember before the show we were talking about, what I saw on TV, and then it was cleared up by my friend in England there that no, these people have to have them job, the two jobs.
No, exactly. And you would have seen that the environment was that of people having fun and jumping up, and because why now I can argue, or I probably will argue, the perception that having double jobs means that you have a level of safety. It means that once people feel like they're in a safe zone or a safe environment, they can actually reduce that stress and enjoy themselves.
I'm going to put you on the spot. And I mean, really on the spot. All right. You're in the field, right? You're in the medical field or the health field.
Not medical. I won't say
health
medical.
Field. No, I mean, you're in the health field. Yeah. So about the what do you call it now? About these vaccine.
Yeah.
We need basically like a 90%. Each country need about a 90% in order for them to have earned immunity, right?
Yeah.
So next year,
90? I'm not sure it's 90.
Yeah, about 70-90 for earned immunity. So next year, the quest right now is by next year this time or next year summer, the U.S. president would like to the world population, how much was 7-8 billions of us, to be in that 70% category.
Yeah.
So that things can come back to normalcy. In your opinion, or you're in the field and you see what's going on, and you talk to doctors, like, do you think we can reach that by next year summer? The world population would be back to normalcy. Because we know this thing is going to live with us. It's going to be like the common flu. But it's just those who can endure it by the immune system.
All right. To answer your question, there are some assumptions being made within that statement. In other words, the assumption that we have a level of behavior that we see as normal. Now, that word itself is subjective to everybody's opinion what normal is, what normality is. And my belief is what we have now is what we call a new normal. Living with COVID, that's a new normal. Before we had COVID, it was normal. Now, after we have it, there has to be a level that we accept as being normal. Because the only way to go back to where it was before COVID is not to have COVID. If we can eliminate it, then it can go back to exactly where it was. And I do not think we'll have that.
Okay.
Just like the common cold, whatever we've picked up over how many years of human evolution, we learn to adjust, then that has become normal. It wasn't normal 100 years to get on a plane and fly to Africa or any place. That wasn't normal. It wasn't normal to get in a taxi and can drive from where you are to another place in 10, 20 minutes. That wasn't normal. When we adjust and we change what happened, when we adapt to our environment, that is what becomes the new normal.
Because what I'm seeing now, and I see people drop them guards. I've been to places and some of my friends in our house, because we start to go out, step out back. And I'm seeing last year this time when people go to the grocery store and they come back, they would be wiping down everything, from the can to the plastic, everything would be wiped down. Even when you go to the gas station and pick up the gas pump, before you even pick up the pump, you would make sure you have your sanitation tissue. You would be wiping the angle, and when you finish, you do your thing before you even open your door. And I'm seeing people dropping the guard, and I'm thinking, wait. Is it that people are believing now or are accepting that because some people are getting the vaccine and they're trying to see if this thing works, so they are just say, all right, let's be free. And when I say free, let's forget about what we used to do last year and see, because really and truly, believe it or not, I don't shake hands again no more with nobody.
Yeah,
you understand?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't shake hands again, and I pick and choose who I embrace also. You understand me?
No, as you said, you pick and choose who you embrace based on what information?
Based on what information?
Yeah.
Based on what I see is going on right now, because
No. What I'm trying to get at, right? You say you pick and choose who you embrace, right?
How do you choose them?
When you choose to embrace that person, is it based on the fact of the relationship between you and that person?
Oh yes, and family members, yeah.
Right.
It's not
based on the fact that the person show you.
Because remember, when I used to greet some of my brethren, I used to, hold and bring them in together and pat them. I don't do that no more.
Yeah.
You understand me? We give them the fist, pure fist now. Yeah. Back in the days when I used to work in retail, when I go to the bathroom and I wash my hands and I'm heading to lunch, and I would come across people and them stretch out the man for shake, I give them the fist, and them always I wonder why me I give them the fist. I'm tell them, so when me I go eat my lunch, me no touch nobody hand.
Yeah, I understand that.
You understand me no touch nobody hand, boss.
Why I'm saying is that even when you see, say, a family member and you embrace them, or somebody that you embrace, right? You have just explained or drop your guard at that point. You've taken a chance. You make a choice, right? Of not worrying about if this person have it or not, because
no. This family member, the family member who I touched, they're in the same category like me. We get for shots. You understand me?
Okay, cool. So if there's anybody outside of that circle that you might come across,
I'm not touch them.
Everybody at some point is taking that chance of. I'm not taking a chance, but everybody is dropping that cautious behavior, and people are doing it. And the more you do something, the more it becomes familiar. So you'll find out it gets to a stage where people are actually more comfortable not having that precaution approach all the time.
Yeah, but the thing that I'm stressing, is like when you go grocery stores and you come back home. I don't see. I like it happened to me recently. I say some friends of mine go buy some stuff and they came back and they're putting it up in the kitchen. And them just take it out and put on the counter and push it in the pantry. I say, hey, you need a wipe no more. I'm like, oh, them say that for wipe no more. I said, no, man.
Then you just explained
here's some alcohol.
Has become
wipe
new
the things
normal.
Down.
This is now new normal. And if you look at you're explaining it, and I'm listening to you, and I want you to understand what you are saying. You're explaining examples of people showing you they are now in their new normal.
Yeah. But I don't think I don't think the normalcy will come back like that.
But you may not think it's come back, but I'm showing you there are examples that people are behaving normal again, right? So that in itself is an example of normal. It's just that not everybody has the same normal. You understand? You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody will have their own different idea. When they first started this discussion about normal, I said normal. That word itself is a very subjective word. It depends on your particular view. Listen, when I'm working with someone, depending on if it's helping them with what trauma, what weak cases, I listen to their words very carefully because when I say something back to them, I use their words because that word to them has a meaning.
Yes.
It may be similar to what I think it be, or it may be something different. But I don't use my words to explain what you say. I use your own words because then it means that when I repeat it to you, you understand, which which basically gives us we call rapport with each other. You are of the opinion, because I'm using your word, I understand exactly what you're saying. Therefore, there's a connection there.
True.
Right?
True.
Okay. So when we use words, people basically will say how they feel, how they interpret that word. So I never assume that it is the same way I interpret it. I mean,
fair enough.
so if you're having a conversation and you say something, I might repeat it to you and say, you just said this is what I understand it to me. Am I correct? To make sure we do understand each other.
True.
Right? So understanding what you said about normal, that word normal, it will vary depending on who is using that word. Every person. So look at the behavior, not necessarily the word. Look at the behavior that follows, right? And the more people that believe or feel as though, you know what, I can operate as normal based on the fact that I've been doing it I did it once, I did it twice, I did it 3 times. And the more you do it, the more you become comfortable with it. That is what new normal is going to be. What people, the majority of people becomes comfortable with the same behavior, that will become our new normal. All right. Or rather, that is our new normal.
All right. So with that, we're going to just leave it right there. Until next time, we can, go for. We know we're going to bring it back, Carlston, because Lick 150 yet, we know that.
I know. He's always here with us.
Always.
Because
that's okay.
as long as we have we call it mental health issue. Everybody, as you said, is undergoing.
Every human being has mental health, just like we have physical health.
Yes.
It just depends on how functional your health is.
True.
That's all.
So we know we're going to have that to deal with, I'm going to call up on Courtney, since I'm in sunny Florida, to see if he can shed some more sunlight on you and just give you the summary this morning. Courtney?
No problem.
All right.
Okay, today we have Carlston Medford, and we thank you for being here with us to give us a perspective of what is happening in Barbados. And we spoke on some of the mental health issues, but we started out by talking about, the Republic, and you give us a simple definition. It's just, instead of having a monarch, there's a president. And for our listeners and viewers, most republics are coming out from some kind of monarchy. So when they declare themselves a republic, it's usually that the people are the representatives of the people, elect a president, or the president is subject to the nomination of a prime minister. So that is clear. We discussed also the whole effect of COVID, and especially in Barbados and what is happening there on the ground. And we'll also talk about, which was very important to me, about reducing our stress levels to really, enhance our immune systems against COVID. And that was really interesting and important. And I think, we'll have to get you back to really, talk about this whole thing and, our hormones, the role hormones play, with our COVID. And that dominated the conversation. But I like the end of the conversation where we realized that people have relaxed their vigilance, on the protocols that they used to follow and all of that. And as you said, it's that, people are going into their new normal. And, normal is what, we as an individual then define it, because as I said, it's a perception of each person.
Yeah.
And, truly today, as usual, your conversations are very interesting, very thought-provoking.
Thank you.
And surely we know that we'll have you back some more times, to really follow up on the discussions about mental health. Back to you, Franco.
Yes, sir. So as a year, Courtney just wrap it up for us and couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better. I just want to, send some shout out to those in the live chat this morning. And I see Carlston, bring out the house this morning. So I feel just big them up. I only wish we had, more people in the Zoom room that, could have participated and, ask some more questions. And give a shout out to Brother Ansel Lee, who, is in the room as well. And for those in the live room, big shout out to Roberta, also to Raymonda Adams, also to our chef there. Big up to Chef Will Ward Jordan, who take time out, to be in the room as well. And
let me say that's one of my brothers right there.
All right, you hear that? I know that. I know that your brothers right from another mother.
Yeah.
And also big ups going out to the Thinking Bean. And for those who didn't participate, we thank you for taking time out as well. And I'm going to ask all of you out there this morning, please remember to subscribe, like, and share the video. This video and all the videos that you like, make sure you share them. Because the object of this channel is to educate you and also to entertain you. And the Real Stuff Podcast is your Caribbean podcast. Don't forget that. The focus this week is on Barbados. And we all know that next week, Tuesday this time, big celebration and go on. Dancing in the street and things like that. So, big up to Barbados, making that transition to become a republic. So live and love every moment of your life and be grateful for each new day. Cherish your family and friends. Bless others. Keep the faith. Never lose hope, and remember, prayer changes things. Regardless of what religion you belong to, you must pray and continue to pray. So on behalf of my podcasting team this morning, we want to thank Carlston and all those who participate. So my podcasting team, Flavius, Courtney, Francine, Maxwell, and myself, want to thank all of you for taking time out and wish you all a joyful morning, a joyful afternoon, a joyful evening. In whatever time zone that you have, make no one take away your joy. Don't make no one take away your joy today. Because guess what? That we need to carry us through. So I'm going to ask Queen Lubafo to say the Our Father in the Garifuna language. And Tafina would take on myself to take us out of here. Until tomorrow, well, we do it all over again tomorrow. And we have another Barbadian coming here tomorrow. So let me see who's coming in tomorrow. Tomorrow, Wednesday.
We have the youths.
It's the Barbadian Youths Voices. And the theme is the new dispensation. So join us tomorrow when we do it all over again. Queen Lubafo, take it away.
You lead us to full. You belong far away away. Ajuguala lebo buseru lida mua lida sungfula lida mua lida sungfula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know I said me if it could flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out the side. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize I will.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
Relationship I'm gonna desist, but how can I face you when all I wanna do is just taste you? I know you think I play me, I play Soon you're gonna see the light of day. Just relax, don't move an inch. I'll be gone in a pinch. May I feel take away myself. May I feel take away myself. May I feel high like a thief in the night. May I forget out of sight.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.